Guten Morgen, everybody. Boker Tov if you're Jewish. I'm driving to work. Thinking. Don Henley has a song that goes, I've been trying to get down to the heart of the matter. And I think it's about forgiveness, even if you don't love me anymore. And that song really makes me think about the Day of Atonement. It should be like the Day of Atonement song for all my Hebrew singles. And makes me think about someone I knew 17 years ago that, sorry, I'm back in this car, that I've been trying to get in contact with off and on again for 17 years. Simply for the reason of apology. I joined the military back in 2000. I turned 20 in August 24th, 2000. I turned 20 in boot camp in Texas. Then I went to tech school in Mississippi to learn my job in the Air Force. And then I went to Ramstein Air Base, Germany, in Kaiserslautern. And I was there for 2 years. June 2001, I met this girl at a base library who just blew my mind and took my heart. Just instant spirit-to-spirit connection. Probably still one of the best people I ever met in my life. Someone I just really cared about, like the entire, since the day I met her forward, really cared about. But we started out great. We met at the base library in June 2001, and great relationship for 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe a month. And my dad died when I was in Paris. I went to Paris 4th of July 2001 with some people I knew from tech school. They were in Germany too, like this girl I knew from tech school and her husband, and this really gothic guy we met. So I was at Euro Disney Paris and came back about 1 a.m. and my first sergeant pulls up on his motorcycle, and first sergeant's outside your dorm room at 1 o'clock in the morning. Either someone died or you're about to get court-martialed. So he took his helmet off and came in and told me my dad died. And I didn't think it really bothered me that much, because my last words to my dad were something like "go to hell" or something similar. That's my birth dad. We had not a good relationship, but he died 4th of July, and I had to go home for a month and spend all the money I had because I didn't really have a lot of support going home. So I went home for a month for his funeral. When I got there, my brother had tried to kill himself and had been committed somewhere. And these people my dad owed drug money to, or apparently, or were mad at my dad or something, or mad at my brother. We were calling my grandma, I was thinking about her house down, and I tried to get my brother out of the institution. It was a big mess because I'm not his parent, but we didn't have any parents left. My mom died at 14, so I couldn't get the doctors to understand I'm not his parent, but we don't have parents. I'm the closest he has to a parent, but they were giving me all sorts of fits. I tried to adopt him. Didn't work out. The military wouldn't let me because he was turning 18 too soon. And oh my gosh, it was just a horrible time. And all these checks that were out when I left base in emergency, and then they all kind of came back, which gets you in the big trouble in the military. So my dad died, home for a month, brother committed, suicidal, burning the house down stuff, my grandma's house. Financial crisis, military crisis, because they thought I was trying to go AWOL, and I had to extend my leave, and they extended it, but then they couldn't get a hold of me to schedule a trip back because I didn't have a cell phone that worked in the States, and nobody had internet. And I just kind of couch surfing. I just stayed with whoever I could stay with that night for weeks on end. So I just kind of bounced all over the place. They called my uncle though. I finally got back in touch with him. I was like, I'm not going AWOL. I promise I'm coming back on time. It's just they want to have constant daily contact. But anyway, all that happened like 3 weeks after her and I started dating. But she was really supportive and really great. And then 9/11 happened. I was in combat communications unit. I'm not a combat person. I just randomly got assigned there. Actually, I was commander of support staff, which I could work for a medic colonel, or a colonel over all the cooks, or a mechanic. I just happened to be working for a colonel who was head of a combat communications unit. They're the first ones in, the last ones out, because they get the equipment there and everybody else shows up, and then they have to leave because you can't do anything at all without communications. So the first one is to get there to the battle scene, the last one out. And as far as the Air Force goes, because the Marines kind of control the landing zone first. But there's 254 people on base in my unit, in my building and such, my work building and my building I lived at. Because in the military, you eat together, you all sleep in the same building, it's probably the same hallway, you all eat 3 meals a day together, unless you're married. If you're single, you all work on the same base. I mean, you were around these people 24/7 for 2 years. So there's no escaping them. And that's all people I knew. So 9/11 happens, 254 of us. A week later, there's about 10 of us left on base, because everyone else that went to Afghanistan, we got a call about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. The United States just got attacked. We weren't sure if it was China or Russia or North Korea, because we were hearing a fighter jet had been flown into New York City and blew up the Twin Towers. We didn't know it was civilians. There's a rumor going around it was a fighter jet, like a Chinese or North Korean or Russian fighter jet. And you just come to base with your will and your gas mask and your chemical warfare suit and your gun holster and all these things. Just sorry, not come to base, come to your unit in the middle of the night and make your will out, and it was really scary. So that was 3 months after my dad died. And then at this point, Stacy, the girl I was dating, was planning on coming to base December 11th, flying out to base, and we're gonna get married the next month. And if I would waited 6 more months, she would be graduating college, so with her psych degree. So she'd be a special education teacher, I believe. I was really impatient and really hurting. So all that happened right when we met, and I just became someone I'm not. I wasn't even a believer at the time, but I just crashed, came off the deep end. Got really tired of not fitting in. So the first time in my life, I just quit trying to be a good guy or a nice guy or be the honorable guy, and just tried to be like every other alcoholic in my dorm. I just tried to fit in and be like them. And unfortunately, it was right at the time I was with one of the most caring people I've ever known in my life. Stacy had a special needs neighbor she went and took care of, and then her grandmother had died. Her grandmother actually survived the Holocaust, and her grandfather was in the army and met her grandmother by liberating her concentration camp, and took her to the hospital, took care of her every day. And that's part of the story how Stacy and I met, but at the library. But she took care of her grandpa since her grandma had passed. Went there several times a week and just made cookies with the man and hung out with him, and just the kind of person that shows up and makes cookies for her grandpa. But I got really bitter and really paranoid and really angry and really suspicious of anybody saying they love me, because my whole life has been constant rejection, and this person comes along and says, I love you, I really love you. And I just couldn't get it. I just could not wrap my head around it, and started pushing her away more and more and more and more and more, and said a lot of things I shouldn't, and really broke her heart in a lot of ways. Just pushed her away. I felt like, okay, one day she's going to reject me. She's going to push me away. When she really knows me, she's going to get rid of me. So I just accelerated that process by just pushing her away, because I knew it was coming. And maybe you push hard enough and they stay, maybe it's true. But then you think, okay, well, they stayed. Maybe I push a little harder, then they'll run away. Because you don't want it hanging over you. And you just can't get to the point of trusting someone's going to stay. So anyway, it caused a lot of heartache, and I've been feeling off and on, like once a year, maybe twice a year, I get this sudden thing to look Stacy up and write an apology letter. Especially since being Hebrew now, you do these things before the Day of Atonement. And 17 years, I never found her on Facebook or anything. And then all of a sudden, 2 days ago, Yahweh's like, look Stacy up. Like, okay, why? I can't find her, ever. I'll gladly write her an apology card if I can find her. I never could before. But then, okay, lad, if you want me to do it, make it happen. So, get on laptop and Google her name, and bam, right there, address, mailing address. So, I went to Walmart. I was thinking about cards. I know which cards and books I'm supposed to have. So I saw this blank card, just 2 orange butterflies, which is perfect for her. Just bam, it's right there. So got her card and filled it out and mailed it. It's a shock to hear from me, but I just want you to know I'm sorry. You were great, and I was awful, and I'm sorry, and I hope your life has turned out great, because you really deserve great things. And I'm sure you got married at some point, and whoever you married, I hope they are this Psalm 1 wonderful, wonderful husband you deserve this whole time. And if you're single for some reason, then I hope you find this wonderful Psalm 1 guy. And I told her I'm a believer now, and she was a huge blessing in my life at that point, because without her being there, I probably would have killed myself. There was just so much. I don't think I would have made it through without such a tremendously encouraging person at such a dark point in my life. I probably would have lost my mind. And I had a similar situation a few months ago with going through a lot of court stuff with my kids, and having one of the most just stable, grounded people in my life I've ever had. Just very calm, no matter what happens, don't flip out. Very calm, very steady person in my life. And I don't think I would have made it through that too well if she hadn't been there the whole time for me. She's not really there right now in my life, but the last winter, last spring, she was there, and that made a huge difference in my life. So I wrote Stacy a letter, card, saying, back when we were together, back in that time. You meant the world to me. You did more good than you possibly know, and don't think you didn't. And just a thank you, and an apology. And I think real thank yous and real apologies aren't strategy, they are investment. And sometimes we aren't allowed to really get to that place of somebody to have that real honest thank you or that real honest apology until there's nothing left between us like that. Because with Stacy, that is not our radio, that's somebody else's. With Stacy, there's no really hope of going back to that. There's no yearning for that. There's no trying to get back to that. There's no even possibility of that. It's just, no agendas, no motives, no tactics, no strategies. I just really want to say I'm sorry. And maybe that why now is the time that I've gotten so much clear direction about someone else, much clear word, that there's no lingering of, oh, maybe you and Stacey get back together. It's not there at all. It's just I'm sorry. A real honest I'm sorry, and a real honest thank you for everything you did. And I'm sorry the person I was. There's a lot of times with me, there are several right people. Like, God will introduce you to somebody like Rebecca and Isaac. If Rebecca had said, no, I ain't going, God would have brought somebody else. And Rebecca was the right person. But if she said no, it was just Rebecca wasn't acting right. Or maybe Isaac wasn't acting right, And if either Rebecca or Isaac wasn't acting right, that was the right person for each other. Just one of them wasn't acting right. And then Yahweh would bring somebody else to either Isaac or to Rebecca, and that person would be the right person. So there's a window of time for being the right person. But it has to be the right person, and both persons have to act right for it all to fit together. So Yahweh makes the introduction to the right person, but both people have to act right for the introduction to work. And then there's a window of opportunity, and he brings, if there's that window shuts before there's changes, then people choose to change, he'll bring someone else. That's the right person for that time. So a right person in general, because Yahweh doesn't make introductions in the wrong time. He never makes introductions in the wrong time, but people have to choose to act right or not, and sometimes they have to accelerate their decision to act right or to act right in a hurry. And I had a window of that with Stacy, and I let it pass at a certain time period to act right, to accelerate my growth and to act right, or I would lose her and have to wait a while on someone else. And that's happened sometimes. But even if that window closes, maybe when that window closes is the best time to. You can give an apology anytime, of course, and you should. But there is that immediate apology, and then there's that deep. I've had a long, long time to reflect apology, and I think those are the most sincere. And sometimes they're more sincere when the window closes. But I'm sure a lot of you have similar situations in your past, and if you can, if it's healthy, if it's not going to cause any harm, like the 12 steps say, make amends where possible, make amends where it won't cause harm. I encourage you to do that. Just get it off your chest, and sometimes it blocks things moving forward, because thing A doesn't seem to be related to thing B, but it really is. Like my relationship from 17 years ago, I never got to give a real apology to her for. Might be affecting things now. I don't know. Might have affected several things. Not that it would block it, but you can feel like a slowdown, like it's a drag, like it's something hanging over you. And you're like tithing, it doesn't look like, well, I didn't give God 10% of my income by supporting this or this or this. And I don't see how in the world that relates to my car breaking down. Because it's not that I didn't pay for an oil change or didn't pay for new tires, it's that I didn't pay for this mission trip over here. But those things are related. Spiritual, they're not logically related in the natural. In lower logic, natural, not logically related, but the spiritual, they are related. Because honor and protection. You honor God with his 10% with your finances, he protects your finances. You honor this one sister Messiah over here, who doesn't end up being your wife, then he will honor you by bringing you a wife, or maybe your brother, husband kind of situation. So it's all interconnected. In the spiritual, it's all interrelated. So if you make sure you're taking care of everything you need to do in area A, then God can move in area B. But if you don't take care of area A, area B might sit there. So in the past few weeks, that's me. Am I doing anything at all that's causing blockages in these 15 areas of my life I seem to be stuck at the moment, that are creeping forward, but they're not moving fast enough. They're not blocked completely. They're just creeping forward. What is the drag? What is the slowdown? Like those NASCARs, the parachute behind it. It catches the wind, it slows it down. You got to cut the parachute, you want to go fast. So, and cutting one parachute cord at a time. And A never seems to be related to B, but it almost always is. So, I just encourage you guys to reach out. And there is someone on your heart that's been there a long time, especially before Yom Kippur. Just go and take care of that. All right. Shalom to your hearts.